Have you been wondering how you could better position yourself to get a business analyst role with zero or little experience doing a real BA job? I know that sounds impossible, right? But on today's video, I'm going to shed more light on how that can be made possible. My name is Paul Avan. I'm a business analyst and a service design professional. I also serve as a mentor with Value Drive, an educational platform for new, growing, and aspiring business analysts. And on today's video, I'll be answering exactly that question. How do I position myself to stand a chance to get a BA role to become a business analyst, even when I've got zero experience doing the actual job? Now, to start with, here is something I've noticed. There's a lot of advice out there, right? And if you scan through all the advice given to people seeking new jobs, or specifically people who want to become business analysts, you hear things like get certified, learn agile, take a BA course, upgrade your CV, revamp your LinkedIn page, do this, do that. Now, truth is, none of that is bad or wrong. Actually, there are things you would need to do and you should do, right? But where a lot of people struggle is that they think it's a knowledge gap that they have. So you see people who have studied techniques, they've got certification, they've read job description, they can engage in conversation about the technicalities of business analysts because they've spent time, of course, learning, right? But what they often come short of is positioning, right? These people are focusing more on credentials rather than on capability. They are also focusing more on task as opposed to communicating and showing the impact they are able to bring to a project, to a business, and to the role even as a business analyst. So those things are where people come short of, right? Positioning for credibility as opposed to knowledge and task, right? And you would ask why. The truth is that for a long time there's been a misconception about what business analyst is all about. A lot of people think business analysts are guys who just write documents, create process maps, artifacts, and all kinds of things. Yes, like I said in my previous video where I thought about the value of business analyst in an organization or in a project, the business analyst uses all of these as tools. They are a means to an end, but they are not the end goal. They are not the value that is expected of a business analyst. The business analyst is that guy who's expected to solve problems, improve processes, make better decisions, and help deliver change successfully, right? So when hiring managers are doing their thing, right, recruiting and looking for who to hire, these are the traits they are looking out for. They are looking out for someone who can understand problem, who can identify opportunities, engage stakeholders, and help move initiative forward. Right now, the gap that I've seen with a lot of people is reflected in how they communicate their work. Right, a lot of new entrants or aspiring business analysts focused more on task instead of impact and capability. And I always say this to my students or whoever I'm speaking to: don't just say what you did or what you can do. Communicate what's changed as a result of all of that. That is a major game changer, whether it's on your CV, on your LinkedIn page, or during an interview. Always learn to go beyond just relaying a task or what you can do or what you did. Ensure that you emphasize on you rephrase it in a way that communicates exactly what changed as a result of what you did. Because as a business analyst, you're not hired to do those tasks. This is 2026, right? AI can write documents, create process maps, and do all kinds of things, summarize meeting notes, do a lot of things that probably take you 2 hours to finish, and AI would do it in 1 minute or less, right? So that that's not why they're hiring you. You need to communicate the value, the change that happened as a result of what you did. And so, for example, anyone could have said, I gather requirements, drew process map, see all those kind of things. But instead of saying, for example, I mapped a business process on your CV or during an interview, you could recoin that same activity to emphasize what changed or the value that delivered, that you use that tool or technique to deliver. You could say something like, I uncovered the opportunity to automate processes through process mining, mapping, and analysis, therefore leading to a reduction of 40% reduction in processing time and also improving customer response time. You've said the same thing, but from the angle of what changed, the value that activity helped you deliver. As simple as that is, it's a major game changer. Another challenge that new business analysts usually face is the trap of endless learning. Right? I call this preparation analysis, paralysis. Beg your pardon, paralysis. They spend so much of time preparing, reading, taking course, years, months. Now, am I saying you should jump out there unprepared, half baked? No, that's not my recommendation. I'm a strong advocate of putting your best foot forward, right? But you cannot learn everything before you start. As a matter of fact, business analysis is a very practical discipline. So what I mean is you develop confidence by analyzing process, solving problems, speaking with stakeholders, doing the work, right? That's how you become better at it, not just sitting behind your books and reading and taking more course certifications. There's a place for that. I'm not knocking it down. You should do all those things, but at some point you should start putting all of that in practice. Now, which brings me to my next point. You would ask, okay, I've got zero experience. As a matter of fact, my current role is a non-BA job. That's okay, and that's why I've made this video. How do I practice the business analyst skill even when I'm currently not a business analyst or have a role? I will say this: start thinking like a business analyst today. In your day-to-day life, in whatever role you're currently in, your job, start thinking as a business analyst. And it's very simple, nothing complex, right? Start asking questions. Look into your day-to-day activities, what you do wherever you are in your job. Start asking questions like, what does this process exist to achieve, right? What are the bottlenecks around this process? What problems are we trying to solve, or this process is trying to solve? Who are the stakeholders, the people that matters when it comes to this problem or process, right? And think of improvement. And I'll give you a simple example. You're a customer rep, for example. You work in customer service or customer operations. Part of your role is to do onboarding, KYC, ensure that there's compliance is met, or you just attend to customer complaints and help them resolve issues. Whatever your JD is as a customer service or customer support personnel, start thinking, this onboarding process, this process for conflict resolution, how can I make it better? What does this process exist to solve? Sometimes when you ask, what's the end goal of these 10 steps I have to take, it helps you rethink it. If the end goal is to achieve this, does that mean that we could eliminate 1, 2, 3 steps? Does that mean that we could combine these 2 steps into one? Does that mean that in parallel we can achieve these 2 steps as opposed to waiting for one to finish before we start the other? Start thinking in that way. Start thinking like a problem solver. Start calling out risk and raising them with stakeholders, people that matter, your line managers. Start practicing BA related skills where you are essentially. Start thinking like a BA. Okay? Now, the more you practice this mindset, the more you naturally start exhibiting traits and the core skills of what makes a great business analyst. Right. Another thing you need to know is you need to also understand how hiring managers think. And how do you understand how my hiring managers think? What is the value expected of a business analyst? If you could answer that question, you would understand that is exactly what business analysts hiring managers, I meant to say, are looking out for. Who is that guy that can come in and make things happen? So hiring managers are essentially not testing your knowledge, although yes, that's part of what might come off an interview or they will look out for on your CV, right? But beyond, I can draw a process map, I understand SQL basics, I can use Lucid, I can conduct stakeholder interview, gather requirements, do all those kind of things. They also want to understand, does this person, can they understand the business problem? Can they help the team move forward as a result of what they've understood? Okay? During your interview, while they are vetting your CV, from the first contact a hiring manager, a recruiter has of yourself, your CV, or during interview, till they decide to hire you, they are going to be asking questions such as, can this person ask thoughtful questions? Can they break down complex problems? Do they understand business process? Can they communicate with different stakeholders, facilitate discussions, identify gaps and risk? Do they have the ability to translate business needs into actionable outcomes? Now, they may not ask these questions in very direct way, literally as I listed them out, but they would ask all kinds of questions that will help them elicit and understand if you actually have the ability to do these things, or these skills rather. So understanding how business analysts, recruiters, or hiring managers think would help you understand how better to position your CV, how better to speak for yourself during interview, or whatever form of contact you get towards trying to get a business analyst role. Now, these skills are often developed through experience, to be honest, but like I've said earlier, you can practice these things in even every other thing you're doing in your day-to-day life, in your current role, right? And more importantly, many people already possess some of this capability without realizing it. That's the truth. Think retrospectively. Think deeply about what you've done in your current role, and even in your day-to-day activities. You plan a birthday, you help organize a wedding. So in places like this, you probably have exhibited problem-solving skills, the ability to understand the problem, break it down into a simplified form, communicate it to people that need to understand and run with it, right? Seek for places where you've done this in your current role and recoin it. Communicate that in a way that you can use to defend yourself and say you have BA adjacent skill, or you've developed or demonstrated BA adjacent skill in time past. I hope that helps. Now, next, you want to also reframe your existing experience before you apply for any role. Now, this is an extension of what I was saying earlier. You also need to know that even though what your role is, or what you've done before, is not a BA role, there are certain ways you can definitely communicate all of that in a way that it shows that you've done a BA adjacent job, duty, project, whatever, right? Now, and when you're doing this, you want to write it down in a BA language, not in the language of your original job. So you want to look back into your experience, right? Identify those times where you've exhibited certain transferable skills, such as have you managed dependencies, flagged risks to senior stakeholders, have you identified broken processes and made recommendations at some point, where have you used customer feedbacks to identify patterns and translate them into operational recommendations. You want to think about those moments within your current job, your past jobs, where all of this has happened in other ways, right? Maybe not literally, but in other ways. And if that does not happen, start seeking opportunities to express these transferable skills, right, and communicate them. Go through your work history, right? Check, ask yourself, where did I help someone understand the problem more clearly? Where did I gather information and turn it into something useful for decision? Where did I work across different teams or functions to deliver something? Where did I manage expectations and communicated the findings of the back of that and use that to facilitate agreement? You want to ask yourself, where have I done this, right? Now, next point. You also want to tailor your application to the sector of the role, and this is something that is a no-brainer, right? Generic applications don't go anywhere. They are not seen, they are not regarded. Hiring manager essentially wants to know that this person, they've taken their time to study the role, they've researched the company, and they have presented themselves as candidates who should be hired. People who have put this much effort into application, they are writing their CV, are the ones that get selected and invited for interviews. Now, tailoring your CV does not mean you should copy and paste everything you see on the job posting. No, that's not what it is, right? But you want to be deliberate about what you put there. Ensure that if something is highlighted in the JD as important, as required, or you see it repeated, you want to ensure that that thing, that skill, that competence, that whatever it is, whether it's a tool, a skill, an experience, you want it to be recurring all over your CV in all kinds of ways, right? Because those are the things that the software will look out for, and even they, if it's a human that is analyzing your application. Next thing, you want to talk about or learn how to talk about your transferable skills in a way that is convincing, right? A lot of people can list transferable skills, but only fewer people can talk about it fluently in an interview in a way that shows that yes, this person actually has done this thing before. So that is something you really want to have in mind. Learn. You don't need to be perfect at it at first. Practice. Write it down. Rehearse. Stand in front of a mirror and say this to yourself over and over again. However you want to practice it, right? Practice it till it becomes second nature to you, right? A common set of things or transferable skills that hiring managers for the role of business analyst usually look out for are things like the ability to work with stakeholders, right? And also not just stakeholders, work with stakeholders who have conflicting views. You want to be able to communicate a time and a scenario where you were in this position and how you were able to navigate all that complexities and resolve it at the end of the day. Another common one they usually look out for is the ability to deal with ambiguity or complex situation or information, and how you're able to use all of that, navigate through all of that to produce something useful and actionable to move the initiative forward and drive change. Another thing or skill or competence hiring managers look out for business when hiring business analysts is the ability to identify problems that are not obvious to others or problems that others have missed, right? That is something very key. So look into your experience. Look out for scenarios where this has happened. If it has not happened, start making deliberate efforts to build this skill, competence in whatever you're doing today. And to be honest, if we are introspective enough, there is a high chance that you've actually exhibited some of these skills or competencies in time past, whether in your previous place of work, or in a community you belong to, or your day-to-day life. Somewhere, somehow, you must have demonstrated some of these competencies. It's all about being able to reflect well and articulate these things in a way that is convincing and communicates impact. All right. Now, also, one last thing is the ability to manage a situation when things did not go according to plan. This is another common one that recruiters look out for. I will say this to you: you do not need a BA job title to have all of these examples. You could have experienced or demonstrated them in a previous role, and if not, they are all things you can start practicing, right? Practice them enough and be able to communicate them in a way that is convincing during the interview. But moving on, as I round up, credentials are important, certificates are important, but beyond that, you need to understand the mindsets that characterize a business analyst, an experienced business analyst. And also you need to understand how to communicate this in everything you do, your CV, during your interview, wherever. Every contact point you're gonna have with a hiring manager, recruiter, till you get your job, you need to demonstrate that you understand the value expected of a business analyst in all ways. Back that up not just with regurgitating theory and BA theory and all of that, but back that up with experience, examples. Don't just say what you did or what you can do. Communicate what's changed as a result of that. I hope that has helped you. Now, for those of you who are new and aspiring business analyst, I've put together a course. It's called the Business Analyst in practice, or Business Analysis in Practice. It's a practical course that I've put together. It's as if you're shadowing a senior business analyst. What I've done is real projects, right? I've demonstrated how it starts with real stakeholder conversation. Real artifacts rather were produced throughout the course, end to end, from the beginning of the project, the kickoff, down to the analysis stage, the design phase, solution phase, the implementation phase, the UAT testing, the post-implementation support, and even benefit realization. I've demonstrated this end to end using real artifacts. Off the back of that course, you get to see what a BA portfolio should look like, and also a template you can use and adopt for yourself to get a job, or to apply for a job, or put it out there on your CV, or whatever you want to make do of that. I've done all of this, demonstrating how each artifacts are created and how they are used to deliver real business value. Somewhere around this video, you're going to find the link. Go ahead, click on it, read more about the course. I promise you it will be a game changer, right? Especially for those who want to understand, what does the day-to-day life of a business analyst look like? What do they do day-to-day, right? Where they do process map, how do they use process map? Because I tell you for a fact, you can go on YouTube right now or anywhere and watch a 5 minutes video and you know how to draw a process map, but how exactly would you use that to drive business value or business change, or to lead towards the initiative towards delivering solutions? So these are the kind of things I've demonstrated in this course. You want to look into this course, trust me, it will be a game changer. And that brings me to the end of today's video. I hope I've helped you. I hope something has changed for you for better. Let me hear about what you think in the comment section. If you have questions, please drop it. I will be happy to answer them and see how we can grow together. Thank you. I'll see you again on the next video. Bye.